Oh, yeah,
So
we're not careful.
There are some things I don't want to say in public about RPI funding agreement. No, I mean, I don't know if you guys care. Is it on? So we're recording.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
We got an attorney. He's out there on the phone.
Please take notice that the Rensselaer County Capital Resource Corporation will conduct an audit committee meeting at 3 p.m. in the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency conference room. I'll get back in which building, 333 Broadway, 3rd floor, Troy, New York, on Thursday, March 20th, 2025. 4 items, including adjournment. Number 1 is the public comment period. Is anyone here for public comment? Hearing none, looking for a motion to close public comment period. 1 from Matt, 2 from Melissa, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 2 is review of the 2024 draft audit. Is that correct? 2024 draft audit.
And Chris Stevens is here from Jeske.
Okay.
How you doing, everyone? Okay, so we'll quickly go through these for you. I'm sure you want
I heard quickly, right?
if that's what you're looking for.
Thank you.
All right. So there's 2 deliverables for the CRC. There's one that's called the report to the board of directors, and the other says financial statements and supplementary information and independent auditors reports. We'll go through the one that says report to the board of directors first. This particular report is a report that is required under professional standards and just goes over the significant audit matters that arise as part of the audit. Start out by highlighting the fact that in the section of qualitative aspects of accounting policies, management is responsible for selection and use of appropriate accounting policies. Those accounting policies are described in Note 8 of the financial statements. There are no new accounting policies were adopted, and the application of current existing policies has not changed during the year ended December 31st, 2024. And we noted no transactions entered into by the corporation that lacked authoritative guidance under consensus. And we believe all significant transactions were reported in the proper accounting period. Also like to highlight the fact that all estimates are an integral part of all financial statements, or most financial statements. Certain amounts, including financial statements, are based on management's knowledge, experience, or expectations of current events. Generally like to highlight the significant estimates in the financial statements due to the nature of the assets, the revenues and expenses of the CRC. There really are no significant estimates built into the financial statements in the current year. Difficulties encountered in performing the audit. I'm happy to report that we did not experience any difficulties in performing the audit in the current year. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. We are required under professional standards to accumulate all statements noted during an audit and communicate those to the appropriate level of management. We're also like to make sure that we inform you of any material misstatements noted during our audit. There were no such misstatements during the current fiscal year. Disagreements with management. This relates to whether that we had disagreements with management related to accounting or auditing matters. We would report those here. We're happy to report we did not have any disagreements with management during the current fiscal year. Management's representation. We will request management provide us a management representation letter that essentially just confirms to us that everything they told us was complete and accurate, and they believe the finance statements are fairly stated. That will be the report date will be changed. That has to match the date of the financial statements. Once everything's approved, we're able to issue the financial statements that those dates will match. Management's consultation with other independent accountants, essentially really like opinion shopping. If we did have a disagreement with related auditing or accounting matters, and management reached out to another accounting firm, they're required to contact us, and we're required to communicate that communication to you. We're not aware of any such consultation with other third-party accountants. Other matters, we do highlight a few items in the other matters section. Management has omitted the management's discussion analysis, which is required under the generally accepted accounting standards for governments. This is something that's considered required supplementary information. It's something that we wouldn't audit anyway. So the fact that it's not there does not actually impact our audit opinion in any way, shape, or form. We were engaged to schedule to audit some supplementary information on the schedule of indebtedness. This is information that's required by New York State, and we did perform some accounting procedures on that to ensure to allow us to express an opinion on that statement in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. And we also will review management's annual report required under New York State law, and to ensure that it's materially consistent with the financial statement we audited. And I think that's it. Pretty standard, straightforward board report, which is a good thing. So, if there are no questions, we can start with the financial statements. Okay, starting on page 1 of the financial statements. This is our independent auditors report. It provides, it goes on for 3 pages and provides a lot of information. Most important part is the first couple paragraphs. This is our opinion of the financial statements. It says essentially that we did audit the financial statements as of the Capital Resource Corporation as of December 31st, 2004 and 2023. And then our opinion of the financial statements present fairly in all material aspects the financial position of the corporation as of those dates. That's essentially what we call an unmodified or clean opinion, and that's the highest level of assurance you can get on an audit. Next session talks about the basis for our opinions. We did perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as those standards contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. We believe that the audit evidence we gained as part of our audit does provide adequate basis for our audit opinions. Our responsibilities of management describes management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, as well as ensuring that they develop a system of internal controls that allows for the preparation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement. Our responsibilities as auditors, I'm not going to read this whole thing, there's a lot of information in here, but essentially our responsibilities as auditors is to plan and perform our audit that allows us to express an opinion on your financial statements. The opinion provides reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance is a high level assurance, but it's not absolute assurance because we don't look at every transaction that runs an organization during a given year. The bottom of page 2 requires supplementary information. It just highlights in the note that the management discussion analysis is not included, but that does not impact our auditor's opinion. The top of page 7, supplementary information. This section provides information related to the procedures we performed related to the supplementary information, and that we believe that information, supplementary information, is fairly stated in all material respects in relationship to the financial statements taken as a whole. Other information section just highlights the fact that we do review your annual report. We do not issue an opinion on it. Had we, if we were to find something in the annual report that we consider to be materially consistent with the financial statements, we'd ask it to be corrected, and if it wasn't, then we'd have to expand on that comment. We don't expect that to. And the last paragraph refers to our government auditing standards report that we issue under government auditing standards, and we'll discuss that when we get to it at the end. Page 4 is your statement of net position of the corporation. You'll see it's relatively simple. You got about $16,000 of cash and no liabilities, which leads to a net position of $16,000. Page 5, your statement of revenue, expenses, and change in that position, essentially the income statement of the organization. You can see the total project fees were 0 in the current year. You did have some professional fees of about $5,500, which led to a net decrease in the net position of $5,500 year over year. And page 6 provides statement of cash flows. This provides, your source and use of cash during the current year, which shows you the decrease of cash of $5,500 during the current year. Pages 7 through 8. This is note 8 of the financial statements. This is the accounting policies of the organization. As I mentioned in the board report, these are considered to be, there were no changes in the current year, and they are considered to be in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Top of page 9, note B just provides some information related to your cash, all in whether you're adequately maintaining the collateral related to your cash. All cash you had on hand at year end was covered by FDIC insurance, so collateral wasn't necessary. Note C just provides some information related to related parties, specifically with the IDA. And note D is a new note in the current year, just highlighting the fact that there was a significant subsequent event after 12/31 related to the receipt of a significant grant. Page 10 and 11. This is the report we issue under government auditing standards. It reports on a couple different areas. It reports on our consideration of your internal control over financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations that could have a direct and material impact on your financial statements. When we do our audits, we do consider the internal control of the organization. We don't audit your internal control, and we can't issue an opinion on its effectiveness. However, if we become aware of anything that's considered a deficiency in internal control, we would report that here. And we're happy to report that no deficiencies in internal control were identified during the current year audit. And we also did not notice any non-compliance with laws or regulations that could have a direct material impact on the financial statements that would be reportable under government auditing standards. That's the old book report. And the last page, this is the supplementary information, schedule of indebtedness. Under New York State, you're required to provide information related to any government debt that the corporation has issued. And you can see the Hudson Valley bond that was issued several years ago, and it provides information related to that. So, quick, looking up. Anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Looking for a motion to move to the agenda for approval. The motion, Justin, Lori, all in favor? Any other business? The motion to adjourn. 1, 2, all in favor?
Thank you.
Gotta do that again for the IDA. Like 5 more
That was
minutes.
exciting.
That one will take a little longer.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please take notice that the Rensselaer County Capital Resource Corporation will conduct a public meeting at 3:15 in the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency Conference Room, Building, 333 Broadway, 3rd floor, Troy, New York, on Thursday, March 20th, 2025. 10 items on the agenda, including adjournment. Number 1, public comment period. Any public comment? Hearing none, for motion to close public comment period. 1, 2, 3. All in favor? Aye. First, we have to review the minutes of the previous meeting, which was from October 10th, 2024. Everyone had a chance to review the minutes. Members in attendance at that meeting were me, Corey, Matt, and Alyssa.
So we still don't have.
Yeah, no, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, no, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have-
Any changes to the minutes from the store?
Some of your best work.
You guys actually remember that far back?
Motion to approve the minutes. 1, 2, all in favor?
Aye.
And motion, minutes for the previous meeting for 1/9/2025. We got me, Corey, Matt, Justin, and Alyssa. Any questions on the minutes? Looking for motion to approve the minutes from January 9th. 1, Alyssa, 2, Corey.
Rock, paper, scissors?
You moved, I don't know. Alyssa 1, looking for a second.
I'll say.
Second, thank you, Matt. All in favor? So, approval of the 2024 draft.
Okay, let's do this again.
We really have.
We don't need to do it again.
Yeah, I think we just
Um,
approve it.
I think if there's any, we asked if there's any questions on what was said at the previous. So we just went through 10 minutes ago, the draft audit. Does anyone have any questions now on the draft audit? I'm looking for a motion to approve the draft audit. We have Matt, second Corey, and all in favor. And number 5, approval of 2024 draft annual report. So we just went through. Any questions on that? Motion to approve. Corey 1. That's a 2.
Oh.
All in favor? Next, approval of a draft investment report.
Just a zero investment report. We had no investment assets, so there's no.
Motion to approve. 1, Justin, 2, Corey, all in favor? And the draft procurement report.
That's just the of our tariffs. permits for the year for CRC, which was just one, which was for audit.
Motion to approve the draft procurement report. All there.
Aye.
We have the resolution authorizing investment accelerator project.
This is essentially, as we all know, we received the $8 million from Rensselaer County at the beginning of this year. And we have we didn't have it attached, right? We have a CD.
We don't have that attached.
No, I know, but then we have it though. We have a CDs, both 3, 6, 9, and 12 months from Community Bank. And based on our negotiations with RPI, I believe we're probably not going to be expending money for at least 3 to 4 months. So it's prudent for us to, and it's probably going to be early, small increments to invest that money and not have it sit in, a very zero rate Community Bank checking. So this resolution gives us the ability, and we're kind of, once we finalize the negotiations, we'll determine when the actual starts to flow out, but I don't see it happening for a few months. In fact, just on the CapEx side, RPI still hasn't hired somebody up to go upstairs yet and do some more specifics. Pretty much it.
So basically, we're saying we're gonna keep the money protected, but in an interest-bearing
Yeah.
account.
Yep.
As it's not required for immediate expenditure. Okay.
Authorizes Bob at his discretion to invest the money.
The track's coming up soon too, so I figured. Sorry, Chris, you didn't want to hear that.
Put it on black.
Does anyone have any questions? For a motion to approve the resolution.
Sure, I need to abstain.
One abstention noted. Corey, 1, 2, Alyssa, all in favor? Aye. Any other business?
Yeah, I thought you guys wanted a quick update, but based on the advice of council, since we are still having a signed contract with a funding agreement, we go into executive session.
Okay. On the CRC?
Cheers.
Okay, so we're looking to make, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. 1, Corey, 2, Justin, all in favor?
Aye.
You gotta just pause, right? You can say. Yeah.
All right, we're back from executive session. Any other business? Hearing none, looking for a motion to adjourn. 1, 2, Matt and Alyssa. All in favor? Aye. All right, next we have the IDA meeting. Please take notes that the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency will conduct an audit committee meeting at 3:30 p.m. in the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency Conference Room of the Clackamas Bush Building, 333 Broadway, third floor, New York, on Thursday, March 20th. 5. 4 items on the agenda, including adjournment. Number 1, public comment period. Anyone here for public comment? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve. Motion to close public comment period. Number 1, Matt. 2, Corey. All in favor? Aye. Review of the 2024 draft audit.
You're up, Chris.
All right.
Offer that idea.
Okay. We'll, again, you have 2 deliverables here. We'll start with one that says Board of Directors, report to the Board of Directors. So under the section of significant audit matters, just like to highlight that management is responsible for selection and appropriate use of appropriate accounting policies. Significant accounting policies of the agency are described in Note 8 of the financial statements. There were no new policies that were adopted, or applications of existing policies were not changed during the current year. And no transactions entered into by the agency lacked authoritative guidance or consensus. And all significant transactions appeared to be recorded in the proper accounting period. Accounting estimates are an integral part of financial statements prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. As amounts included in the financial statements are based on management's best estimate based on their knowledge, experience, and current assumptions of future events. So resulting effect could end up being different than what you have reported in the financial statements. However, some financial estimates are significant, and we do highlight some of those here. The more significant estimates of in the IDA's financial statements. First one is the estimate of the useful life of depreciable assets, and that's based on the length of time it's believed the assets will provide some economic benefit in the future. And a little more significant in the current year with the purchase of the building. Management's estimate of the useful life of useful amortizable lives of intangible capital assets, or in this case, your lease assets, are based on the estimated term of the lease. So the term is generally based on the initial lease term for the agreement, adjusted for any extension or termination options that are reasonably certain to be exercised. Management's estimate of the discount rate is based on when determinable, it's based on the rate per the lease agreement. If that's not determinable, they try to use incremental borrowing rate. The agent considers his current, credit rating, length of borrowing, et cetera, to come up with what they believe the appropriate rate is. The estimate of the discount rate used for the lease receivables is based on either the rate implicit in the lease agreement when terminable, or the rate that's or the lessee's implicit borrowing rate. If that's not determinable, again, you generally go with the IDA generally goes with its own incremental borrowing rate as the discount rate. Management's estimate of the net pension liability is really determined by the New York State and its audit with the employer's retirement system. And it's based on actuarial assumptions utilized by the actuaries and applied against the underlying pension plan census data. We evaluated the key factors and assumptions used to develop the estimates, and we believe that they're reasonable given the circumstances. Difficulties encountered in performing the audit. We did not experience any difficulties during the current year audit. We also didn't have any disagreements with management over accounting and or auditing matters. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. Professional standards could require we accumulate all known misstatements and communicate them to the proper level of management. The attached schedule summarizes the material misstatements detected as a result of our audit procedures that were corrected by management. Again, management representation letter, we will request management to sign and provide us a management representation letter since essentially they responded completely and accurately to all our questions and that they believe the financial statements are fairly presented. Management's consultations with other independent accountants. We're not aware of any consultation with other third-party accountants. Under the section of other matters, Management did omit the management selection analysis, which is considered important by Government Accounting Standards Board in in its ability to appropriately put the financial statements in economic historical context. Our opinion on the basic financial statements is not affected by this missing information. We did perform limited procedures on a couple of your schedules, which is these are what's called required supplementary information. This is information that's required by generally accepted accounting principles, but isn't required to be audited. As such, we do perform limited procedures to gain ensure that they're reasonable. However, we do not perform enough to allows us to express an opinion on those schedules. We were engaged to report on the supplementary information, which is information that's required by New York State to be attached to accompany the financial statements. We perform procedures on those that will allow us to express such a opinion in relationship to the financial statements taken as a whole. We were not engaged to opine or provide any assurance on the New York State, the agency's annual report to New York State. We will review it to ensure that's entirely consistent with the financial statements, but we will not express an opinion or provide any assurance on it. That is the report to the board. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Now I'm looking for a motion to move this to the agenda.
Oh, still need to go with the financial statement.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's just a report to the board. All right. So next package is this is the big one. Starting on page 1 is our auditor's opinion, as it states in the first couple of paragraphs. We did audit the financial statements of the IDA as of December 31st, 2024 and 2023, and that we believe, in our opinion, the financial statements fairly present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the agency as of and for the years ending December 31st, 2024 and 2023. This is what we refer to as a modified or clean opinion. It's essentially the highest level of assurance you can get under an audit. We did perform our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, as well as those standards containing government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, and that we believe that the audit evidence we gained as part of our audit are sufficient to support our audit opinions. Responsibilities of management. Management is responsible for the financial statements, for our presentation of the financial statements, as well as designing a system of internal controls that allows them to prepare those statements that are free from material misstatement, or whether that be due to fraud or error. Our responsibility under auditors, and there's a lot of information here, but essentially we are responsible for planning and performing the audit that allows us to express an opinion on your financial statements. Our opinion, we're required to provide reasonable assurance related to our opinion on these financial statements. Reasonable assurance is a high level assurance, but it's not absolute assurance. An audit is done by a test of sampling, so not every transaction is reviewed or looked at during the audit. Required supplementary information. This section just refers to a couple of the schedules that attach to your financial statements that are related to your net pension liability. We do perform limited procedures on those to ensure that they're reasonable, but we do not perform enough procedures on them that allows us to express an opinion on them. Currently, we do not express an opinion on them. Other matters, we do highlight the fact that the management discussion analysis doesn't accompany the financial statements. Again, that's something that GASB likes to see with the financial statements, but the fact that it's not there does not impact our audit opinion in any way. Management supplementary information. This refers to the schedules that are required to be accompanying the financial statements by New York State. We did perform procedures on those, and we do believe that those schedules are fairly stated in all material specs in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. Other information, again, we are going to review your annual report to ensure that it is materially consistent with these financial statements, but we will not audit that or provide any assurance on it. And the last section refers to our Yellow Book report. We'll address that when we get to it at the end. Starting on page 5, this is your statement of net position, or essentially the balance sheet of the organization. You can see that it's changed quite a bit from last year. Cash is up a little bit year over year related to positive cash flow from operating activities. You can see it's an increase in your lease receivable year over year. With the purchase of the building, you have several more leases that you're the leaseor to now than you did last year. Capital assets increased significantly with the purchase of the building, $4.1 million purchase of the buildings included in there. On the liability side, you did see an unearned project fee administration fee. That's $1.4 million. That was the receipt of the 2025 MetLife fee that's being deferred until next year. Long-term liabilities, you see significant increase in debt, specifically related to the financing of the building. Your lease liabilities decreased significantly because those represented the lease that you were paying here. With the purchase of the building, that lease was terminated, and so those amounts were written off year over year. Deferred inflows of resources related to leases. Again, that's essentially the deferred revenue related to the leases of the organizations that lease space here in the building, and that went up year over year related to the purchase of the building and the addition of those new leases. Page 6. This is your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in assets, or the income statement of the agency. Just provide total operating revenues, total operating expenses, as well as non-operating revenues and expenses. Again, year over year, you saw some increases. As you saw, increase in project fees with the MetLife payment received in the current year that wasn't received in the prior year. You did receive a grant from National Grid in the current year, which is also recognized there. Lease revenue went up significantly as you now own the building. On the expense side, consulting expenses went down. You had significant engineering costs last year related to the Route 9 corridor that you didn't repeat in the current year. Quackenbush building expenses went way up because now you own the building, so all those expenses are your responsibility. 2000 promotions were down based on promotional activity. It was higher last year than this year. Which led to an overall your expenses, operating expenses were pretty level year over year. Non-operating expenses, you did actually have a gain on lease termination. That gain essentially was the difference between what your lease asset and lease liability was at termination, and that's recognized as a gain at the current year. Total change in that position was a negative 151,000 in the current year. The next page, page 7, this is your statement of cash flows. Again, this provides information related to the agency's sources of use of cash. You can see you did have positive cash flow from operations of $1.4 million. Most of that from proceeds from project administration fees, although 1.4 of that is on the being deferred until next year for revenue recognition standpoint. Cash used in capital and related financing activities was a decrease of cash of a little over $1 million, and most of that was about $1,050,000 of cash outflow related to capital asset purchase, most of which was related to the building. So year over year, that increase of cash was $446,000, which brought your cash from $4.6 million to just over $5.5 million at the end of the fiscal year. And the schedule at the bottom, that just reconciles your operating loss to your net cash flow from operations. So that provides a little more information there as to what drove the change in cash from operations. Starting on page 8 and going to page 11, this is note 8 of the financial statements. These represent the accounting policies of the organization. As I mentioned in the board report, there have been no changes in the current year. And these policies are considered to be in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Note B on the top of page 12 just provides information related to your cash and cash equivalents, as well as reports, the amount of cash you have that's not covered by FDIC insurance, so $4.3 million. That cash is adequately covered by collateral held by the banks. Note C provides information related to your capital asset activity year over year. Note D provides information related to the bonds that were issued, the revenue notes that were issued in the current year to finance the purchase of the building. Note E just provides a roll forward of your long-term liabilities year over year. Your long-term liabilities are really your lease liabilities, your pension liabilities, and your note payable and just shows the activity year over year. Note F provides information related to the leases, both as a leasee and a leaseor. On page 16 provides information related to the leases that you're a leaseor for, related to the revenue that you can generate over future periods, as well as reconciliation of what the revenue was made in the current year. Note G, this is a long note. It goes from pages 17 to page 21. This is a note related to your pension plan, since you are in the New York State Employers Retirement System. These are all the required disclosures, provides information related to how the liability is calculated, the assumptions used, your required contributions, as well as the deferred outflows and inflows. One part I do like to highlight in this note, given, and it highlights, the impact of estimates as we described in the board report, is at the bottom of page 20, top of page 21. This provides information related to how sensitive this liability is to a change in assumptions. A 1% increase or decrease in the discount rate would have a significant impact in your liability year over year. 1% decrease, your liability would increase to 372,000. A 1% increase in your discount rate would lead to actually a net pension asset of about $100,000. And that can fluctuate significantly by small changes in assumptions. And last, on page 21, I'm sorry, note H just provides some information related to the related party transactions. Transactions in Rensselaer County, as well as CRC as well. Starting on page 22, this is the Yellow Book report or Government Audit Standards report for the IDA related to your internal controls. We did consider them to the extent that allows us to plan and perform our audit. We do not perform an audit on your internal controls, and we're not allowed to express an opinion on them, on how effective they are. However, if we become aware of deficiencies in internal control that we consider material weakness or significant deficiency, we report those here. We're happy to report that we did not identify any such deficiencies in internal control in the current year. Reporting on compliance and other matters, we also consider your compliance with laws and regulations could have a direct material impact on your financial statements, and any non-compliance will be reported here. We're happy to report that we did not identify any non-compliance that is reportable under government auditing standards. Pages 24 and 25, this is required supplemental information that's required related to your pension plan. Again, we do compare this to the information provided by New York State, and it's consistent with that. But we do not perform any audit procedures on it, and we do not issue an opinion on that schedule. The last page 26, this is your schedule of indebtedness, so it shows the debt issued through the IDA, both the debt of the IDA as well as the conduit debt that you've issued for other organizations, as required by New York State. There are going to be, before we issue, there'll be 2 more pages attached to this. They're not quite ready yet. That summarizes some of the information that's on your Paris report that you'll vote for, that you'll also look at today. We got the first report last week, so we hadn't had a chance to get through it, get it through the review system process yet, but that will be done before. It's not going to change our opinion at all. But everything's been tested and it looks good. So, are there any questions?
Pretty thorough. Yeah, thank you.
Motion to, looking for a motion to move this to the agenda. 1, 2, 4, 7. First.
Aye.
A motion to adjourn. Or do we have any other business on this? I don't think we do. No, motion to adjourn. Corey, 1, Justin, 2, all in favor?
Aye.
Can we start the meeting now, or do we have to wait till 4?
Go wait before. Got a 4-minute break.
All right, good. Good to see you.
You keep that running, Robert?
What's your project?
I'm gonna make it.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Please take notice that the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency will conduct a regular public meeting at 4 p.m. in the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency conference room of the Quackenbush Building, 233 Broadway, third floor, Troy, New York, on Thursday, March 20th, 2025. We have 15 items on the agenda, including adjournment. Number 1, public comment period. Is anyone here for the public comment period? Hearing none, for motion to close. 1, Matt, 2, Justin, all in favor, closing public comment period. Aye. Number 2, minutes of the previous meeting from 1/9/2025. Looks like all of us were here. Motion to approve the minutes. Corey? Matt? All in favor? Aye. Next, report of public hearing from 2/4/2025 on Hospitality LLC project.
Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency held a public hearing on February 4th, 2025 at 10 a.m. at the North Greenbush Town Hall Town Annex located at 2 Douglas Street, Town of North Greenbush, Rensselaer County, New York, related to the involvement of the Rensselaer County IDA for the project for the benefit of OM Hospitality LLC located at 1 Hotel Way in the town of North Greenbush, Rensselaer County, New York. No one was in attendance. There being no comments, the hearing was closed at 10:15 a.m.
For the record, we did have a letter come in, which is attached to your, which will be on file.
Any questions? Looking to approve the report. Approve the report.
This is the construction of the new hotel, right?
Yeah.
Off of 43rd. Okay.
They actually called it.
Everyone happy with the report that was just given to us? If so, entertain a motion. 1, Melissa. 2, Corey, all in favor to accept the report? Aye. Thank you. Next, we have the budget report for the month of January and February 2025.
Our first report is the statement of financial position. As of February 28th, we had total assets of $8,870,019 with $4,441,268 of that in cash. With total liabilities of $3,251,560, which left us with a fund balance of $5,618,459. There's no significant change in the statement of financial position for the month of February. Our second report is the statement of activity. For the month of February, we had a deficit of $55,933. Our most significant source of revenue was our rental income from the Quackenbush building, and our highest expenses were for the Quackenbush building itself as well. And lastly, we have the profit and loss for the Quackenbush building on a cash basis, which shows all normal monthly income and expenses.
We're starting to see the expenses kind of level out on the building. A few more little things that we gotta get under control, but starting to. Great,
John's got it.
thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Pushing for another urinal.
On the budget.
The budget report for the month of January, February 2025. No questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report. 1, 2, Alyssa. Just 1. All in favor? Aye. Next, we have approval of the 2024 draft audit. I don't think we need to review that again.
Please.
very thoroughly done. Don't recall any questions, so looking for a motion to approve the draft audit. One, Corey, two.
Sure.
All in favor? Next, approval of 2024 draft annual report. Looking for a motion to approve. Corey. Excuse me, said Corey, I'm staring at Justin. Justin, one. Second, Corey. All in favor? Thank you. And approval of the draft investment report.
Any comments?
The next three are just required reports to be approved by you guys for the CRC report for the CRC reporting
That's annually, right?
annually. Investment report was just the interest on our bank accounts, which was 33,687.
Just on the draft investment report, any questions? Your motion to approve? Corey, excuse me, Justin.
It's hard to tell them apart.
You know what? Matt and I were talking, I think we're all gonna have to go beer.
Yes. Yeah.
Touche.
Alright, so Justin one, I was two. And then approval of the draft procurement report, Bill?
Report would be another one for the CRC report reporting with all contracts that exceed 5,000. They're all attached to that.
Any questions on the draft procurement report? Is there a motion to approve?
This is the piece that he was waiting for, right? That he said that he just got.
This
No.
one?
No.
That's it.
No, he's waiting for the projects. Each project that we have a pilot or a bond with,
Yeah.
they have to give us their employment numbers and whatever, and put into a supplemental report. So they were just going over it to make sure it was
That's
matched.
Yeah,
I think for today.
Today, yeah.
So
they didn't get to it. Or
Any other questions? The draft procurement report. Looking for a motion to approve the draft procurement report. That's the one. Corey, two. All in favor? And approval of real property report.
that is the first time we've done this for a while. This is for the purchase of this building last year. Profit and loss is in the summary on the first page showing that we lost 141,093 last year. Better over 25.
Good. Thanks, Phil.
a little deferred maintenance in there.
For a motion to approve the real property report. Matt?
Matt will make.
Matt one, Justin one. I'm thinking you're Justin zero, Justin one. That's what I thought you were saying.
I can't believe you're forgetting his name.
Okay. All in favor? Next is the resolution authorizing pilot deviation letter and public hearing for third amendment to pilot NYISO Inc. project.
Folks here,
And we have some folks here. I have Steve Rob Gash.
we do have a 30-second minimum. Max. I'm drinking what he's drinking. We got a 30-second max. That's right. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm Rob Gatch from White Manassas, Manhattan.
Yeah.
Robert Fernandez, from the New York ISO, Executive Vice President and General Counsel. Don't hold that against me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cheryl Hussey, on NISO CFO.
And this is my actual third time before you over the course of,
20 plus years.
I would say, 20 years.
You
I
both
think
look
19.
great.
This was one of our first my first projects.
Yeah.
At the start of it was, this is the building that was known as the Phoenix Building. It was, acquired by the New York Independent System Operator. When they acquired it, they were established as a 501c3. There was going to be some impact to the county with the building being transitioned from a for-profit user, and so the discussions were to continue the pilot that the Phoenix company had as a show of of kind of moving into the neighborhood and transitioning the the tax burden over over some years. When it came time to for the pilot to expire, the discussions were were to continue it on a voluntary basis, to revise the amounts, to again want to be a good neighbor, to have a good relationship with the communities. Some of the interesting aspects of the property is it does straddle the line between East Greenbush and North Greenbush. So the conversations were always ones that we kept at the at the county level, and 10 years went by like that. So we're back with a proposal to increase that amount. I'm going to turn it over to Rob for just a couple minutes to just because there are some new faces to talk about kind of who they are and the the people they employ. But we're very much appreciative of the relationship and the ability to have those conversations.
I'll just add real quick, when you said they straddle the East Greenbush, North Greenbush, the first couple of weeks, the town of North Greenbush and the town of East Greenbush would send police and ambulance cars if they were ever called because they wanted more of pipe. True story, guys. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy that there was a tug of war between the two towns. And that's one of the reasons why this ended up at the county.
Yep. No, and the before the building was built, the two towns sued each other over the boundary of of this property. So it goes back a long way.
It's like the Mason-Dixon line. I'm Rob Fernandez. I've been with the New York ISO for 25 years. If I make it to May 8th, it'll be 25 years. I don't know how familiar you are with who we are and what we do. We were formed we started operation in 1999 when the state restructured the electric industry and basically had the utilities sell off their power plants, open up the transmission grid to open access, and created competition. And so we were formed to take operational control over the bulk power system, which is 11,000 miles of high voltage wire across the state. And now it's hundreds of generators that we centrally dispatch. If you think of a generator like a car engine, we have like an automated program that's got a bazillion car engines going up and down, up and down, up and down. As you flip the light switches up and down.
So I guess whenever we have brownouts in the summer.
Yes.
Now you can call National Grid. We're wholesale. We also run the wholesale electricity markets, which is where National Grid and the utilities and the load serving entities purchase their electricity. We're a 501c3, as Rob pointed out. We're also formed under New York law as a New York not-for-profit corporation, and we've enjoyed tax exempt status on a federal and state basis and for property taxes under 420A. Although we've had tax exempt status, we've always, and it starts at our board of director level, felt that as a good corporate citizen, we should contribute to the local taxing jurisdictions in recognition of the services we get and just to be, a good citizen. And so we voluntarily have entered into these pilot agreements, and the one we have now is about to expire. We'd like to revive it and go forward. And on Schedule A, you'll see the payment stream that we propose, which our chief financial officer has put together for us. And I'll let you comment on. Do you have any questions about the New York ISL? I mean, I can tell you that it hits like 8 o'clock, but you know.
I'll just say that the proposal you have before you represents a 5% increase year over year in the pilot payments. The agreement that is terminating the end of this year is our 2% increase per year. So it's more than double the annual increase.
I just want to point out to the board mostly that this is a not-for-profit corporation that normally would pay no taxes.
Yeah.
So in case you're out in the street and someone's saying, hey, I can't believe you extended them and gave me 10 more years, the option is 0.
Well, I noticed in public hearing, or I guess, we'll notice when no one from the town of North Greenwich will probably show up and write a letter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Nobody's gonna
this
object.
is just them being really,
Really good neighbor.
good
Yep.
community partners, and it's something that we should put out there so people know that they're rather than hold the line, they're increasing it and increasing substantially. They made the newspaper, I don't know if you guys saw, probably did, but it's the building, they have these screens in it. The whole page of the newspaper is covered with screens full of all this technology that just, wow, it's right here. In our, so.
You know, I'll say this, and whether, I know the offer was with previous, folks, our board members way back when were thrilled when you guys gave us a tour.
Yeah.
Of the facilities, because it's like, if anyone here, I'm gonna step outside the line and say, I'm sure the offer still stands. Anyone here wanted to take a tour of that building? Because we have all new board members.
Love to do it. It's very impressive.
It is.
Like shock and awe.
9/11 there,
Yeah.
remember?
Yes,
Right there on 9/11 was a whole Chinese television.
I know.
we have the largest utility video screen in
Yes.
North America. It's gigantic.
Yep.
It's control
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
How many employees are there now?
There we have over 600. We've grown substantially since we entered into our last pilot agreement. The complexity of the markets and the grid and the technology that's entering the grid is growing. And so I think over the next 10 years, we'll see even more employees. We're sucking wind and playing catch up ball, trying to keep up with all the new demands on us. So I expect we'll grow. So we would like to continue to voluntarily,
You like it?
It's up to all.
to the local taxing jurisdictions in the county, and remain a good citizen, and that's what we ask.
Thank you.
This part?
No.
No, this is in front of the board. Then we're gonna do a public hearing.
No, this authorizes whole.
Right, that's what I said. Then we're gonna do it after.
Gotcha. I just had a question.
So looking for a motion to set this for public hearing. Corey, Melissa. All in favor?
He's skipping Justin.
I'm not even raising my hand.
All in favor?
Aye.
Easy. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's good to see you.
It'd be so proud, John.
Thank you very much.
If you guys did want to get out there. It is impressive.
Yeah, when they
that'd
get
be great.
their- Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. for the-
So just so we're all on the same page, it's a public hearing and also deviation letter because this is a deviation from.
Yes.
So the letter goes up to the tax jurisdiction, so we just say another 10 years, here's the dollar amount, 5% escalator.
Yep.
So.
Because technically it's a deviation from what a standard pilot would be. but it's
Correct.
Right, but it's like,
Basically a
But we're not-
donation on.
but if they pull their, like,
Yeah, they could just say, no, never mind.
I'm not gonna be a good citizen anymore.
All right, we're on to number 11, resolution authorizing contract for purchase of advertising with the Tri-City Valley.
Well,
Yeah, this is an annual part of what we do.
give away of the tickets to the
Yeah, we've done this annually for
long time. It's 18.5, I believe.
18,750.
So realistically, we get advertising for the IDA, but also all of the community youth members, like groups,
What else?
they get tickets.
What do we get? 4,000 tickets roughly?
Yeah.
I can't remember, 4,000 or 5,000 tickets.
4,000.
4,000? Yeah.
So it makes us corporate good citizens.
Yes.
Seems like a lot, but yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to approve. Let's, Justin. All in favor? Resolution supporting bringing the 2025 ECAC Esports Collegiate Gaming Championship.
There you got one more. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed the second value cat one. Resolution authorizing contract for promotional opportunities with Tri-City Valley Cats.
So this is
This is our sign in the outfield.
sign on the board and sign in the outfield.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
Just as an FYI, go ahead, finish this.
Let's Justin. All in favor? Go ahead.
It may be, they're pitching to hold the All-Star game.
Really?
Yeah, so Rick reached out to me. He could go. We may be back for a little more support for that. Because they didn't get from the state, they don't expect to get much from the state support on that.
How's that country concert do? It did pretty well, right?
Yeah. I mean,
That
they're
was one of the first concerts there. And
Yeah,
I live
it
across
sold
the
out.
street and I saw it was packed.
Yeah.
Sold out.
packed.
Yeah, it's great.
And
That's
they're doing it again.
All right.
Rick's trying to expand,
Yeah, they got it.
but they have to. You know, nobody from Hudson Valleys right now is obviously leaderless, but it's been gotta take advantage of getting stuff done.
I don't know. I was just wondering if it was a good
There was a lot of fighting to get that facility there, and now we gotta
We gotta fight.
It's like,
we
come
gotta
on,
fight.
fill it. Do it.
That's right.
It's a pretty good draw. Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just baseball. She's just baseball.
I saw people like putting up pictures. I didn't realize it was at
Oh.
Valley Cats at the time.
The next one kind of is a good segue in because this one was, they came to me in January, I think it was, for this. Seems like a really, they're finally reviving it. It took a hit in COVID, the ECAC, e-games sports thing. They get several hundred kids from all the East, the ECAC schools coming to Troy. They're going to be hosting, RPI is going to be hosting them. So, Carmella called me and wanted to know if we could match. And the county executive actually said, yeah, we can match. So they did have a press conference back in February. I don't know if some of you had seen that press conference. But this essentially is covering, matching RPI in the city of Troy, supporting us for 50,000.
It seems like it goes toward their mission and for Troy Gaming.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
The motion to approve. Troy, one, Justin, two, all in favor? Any other business, Bob?
Yeah, I got a few, but this one, I'm gonna try to go through it quickly. Promise. The Savings Bank is gonna be taking temporary space in here upstairs.
Executive session stuff? or
No.
is this-
No, we're fine.
Okay.
This is open. I mean, we could go to an executive session on a couple, but I just supposed to keep it open.
Okay.
So they're looking at upstairs. I think you were part, right, showing them. So they want to come in. So I think temporary space because they're renovating the Savings Bank Music Hall.
For executive offices?
I was hoping we got their sales because I wanted to put them downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's executive offices, so that's one. I know we previously had spoken about potential for us owning a substation. We sent the application into the state, the 50 megawatt substation in RPI's Tech Park. And we expect to hear the next week or two on where the grant is going, and then it's a $15 million grant. I say we, the IDA, whereas Chris and I are talking, I'll talk to Joe about, would own it, the substation, which is interesting with NYSERDA. So there's an opportunity for us to be in that, to own that substation. So then we'll figure out, next steps on, liability and potential for additional revenues for the IDA. So that's, we submitted that first week of February, the application. That one's looking, I like the way that's looking. Interesting, received a phone call about, the East Campus recently, within the last 2 weeks, spent 2 full days back and forth touring it. There's potential for some large tenants going in, and the East Campus might, or the UALNI Foundation might be interested in selling some of the East Campus, if not all of it. And so I know we were the last ones that they had spoken to about purchasing it from them. Okay, were you guys on the board when we talked about it
Yeah,
a
that
couple of
was,
years ago?
yeah,
Year or so ago?
beginning, yeah.
So I've got a meeting next week with their attorney and some folks to see if we can hash that out. Let's see, that's one.
It's a new tenant.
Yeah, potential new tenant or new owner.
Yeah.
Splitting it up. And part of the call also involved working close with RPI, because if you guys know anything about that, I haven't been on East Campus in a while. I hadn't been in a while. So some of that new lab space, bio lab space. And it would work very nicely with Bridge on the bio side of the world. Some of that space is only 10 plus years old, the lab space. You guys know the new building, the Cancer Genomics Center. So I toured that, and it's very interesting. So I had conversations with some of the RPI folks about taking a look at it. Even though it's not the tech park, it would, it's good space to have in an inventory. And then I've been spending a lot of time, probably too much of my time, working with John McDonald on Market Block and the 3 properties that David Bryce has or had under control. Valen Ventures has put an RFP out for new space. The space that they currently have at Market Block is, we know the bank has got in foreclosure for the last 15, 18 months roughly. Deferred maintenance is not even an issue because no maintenance and there's no exit. Unless the bank takes it over, foreclosure's taken a very long time. So Valen Ventures made a decision to looking out, and so they're looking at space. So, John has reached out to me probably 15 times in the last 2 weeks. We've met to discuss that. Last week, I had a very long meeting with the new Russell Sage president, and he's looking to do some acquisition of some property adjacent to school, and he's also, talking about some other properties that might fit in with some redevelopment of downtown. So we're talking about participating in a campus-wide facilities plan going forward. They're in good shape. Also spending some time working with the housing project in South Troy. So I think John and I talked about the South Troy Dodgers Park. Anybody played there baseball? I'm looking at you guys. Some of you guys might have played there. That was purchased by someone, and he's moving that project along. Going to be anywhere between 40 and 60. So that's that's been the last between the last 2 most board meeting updates, and obviously the RPI project for this building. So
Accelerator.
yeah, they even had to change the bridge name. They couldn't set up a new company with the bridge. They had to use another name because the bridge apparently was copyrighted.
Using one more bridge reference.
Right. Although I'm still going to call it bridge. Yeah, I mean, we're busy. We got some exciting, I think some good stuff going on between East Campus and the substation. A lot of work. Before you guys got here, we owned very little in the way of property. So, yep. Oh, and I do have 2 seats left for black tie. I see Corey raising his hand.
Oh, you saw Justin.
Justin's already going.
Right, you just raised it again.
Yeah. Can't give you one. I asked DeVito to be my date, but because my wife doesn't really want to go.
This will be there too.
Yeah, it's Chamber of Commerce one, yeah. They're honoring, John Bennett, so. Kind of twisted my arm to have to go.
For a motion to adjourn.
It's a way to get everybody to say, yeah, I want to go. I want to go.
Except for weddings. Yeah. Where.